Kelly is a thoughtful leader and really a fountain of knowledge. So a few things that I recently learned about Kelly is that she ran a brick and mortar clinic for 10 years. And then she sold that in the spring of 2020 and decided to be a solopreneur. During that time is when she started the Sensory Collective, which is a membership group for OTs in pediatric private practice with 3+ years of experience, of which I have heard very amazing things. She is Canadian, correct?
Yes.
And did school.
I have to officially say now I'm dual, but
okay.
I am originally and will always and forever be Canadian.
But now lives on the East Coast of the States. Yes. She's a huge advocate of private practice. Kelly, your path has led you through a brick and mortar. You've done in-home practice, and now you're forging this new role for yourself in coaching and mentorship. How are you finding that transition and how it compares to your work that you did in private practice?
That is a lot. That's a multi-layered answer.
You could just pick any piece of that.
I know. I will say that it's very similar to growing my practice, and surprisingly so. And by that, I mean, anything new that you start, you kind of figure it out as you go, right? I think that everybody does practice differently. And what I'm doing now with the mentorship and even my role with Unite is new. And so I'm figuring that out as I go. But building a network along the way, as you're doing here, and as I think everybody here is doing by nature of being here, I think that that's really valuable. And I think I'm doing that more now than I did when I was growing my practice. Dating myself, but when I started the practice, this didn't exist, and having resources, it was much more lonely than I am now, because I'm surrounded by incredible people almost every day now, and I felt really alone when I started my practice. So that's different, and I'm appreciating that aspect now. And then I think the other piece, when I think of the transition, is that I really, each step of the way, just made decisions that felt right. I followed my intuition each time, and it wasn't easy necessarily. And I'm not saying my intuition gave me the right answers, but it led me to knowing I needed to do something different, or something was working. And so now, and in the private practice, it was kind of like you always have the opportunity when it's your practice to make a different decision. And so I think that that's really what because I learned that through private practice, I'm appreciating that now. I can set things up to fit with my life, maternity leave, or I'm not having maternity leave, but yeah, those are just some reflections that come up when you ask that question.
That's beautiful. And I think it highlights why a lot of us do go into private practice, because we're looking for that autonomy to make the decisions that we feel are right for ourselves, as well as the clients that we're looking to serve, whether it's other practitioners or your clients.
Yeah. Can I say one more thing that I think jumps out at me too? When you first introduced the topic of thriving, I kind of inside my head, I was like, how do we define thriving, right? And I love that you called out there are different ways to consider thriving, because I think for a long time in my private practice, I thought it was this end goal to achieve. Like, I'm going to thrive one day. When I do X, Y, Z, I'll be thriving, or like, it'll be successful. And I just never really got there, but it didn't mean that I wasn't being successful. And I think I have the distance now from my practice to realize that. And it's something I've carried into this next phase of my career and supporting other people in private practice, is that it's not an end goal. It's something to consider in different ways and to have different ways of measuring along the way. And so I look at that in this fit for me? How do I want to set up my mentorship? And how many hours do I want to work as a consultant? And, you kind of pick and create and pivot as you need to based on the different phases of your life.